Over the years, Dan and I have had a lot of stories because we've camped in probably 20 or 30 different places. Today we're in Telluride, Colorado. It is July 10th, 2024. That's just 2024.
And remember before you continue, when we were camping, we said, where are we going to be in 10 years? That was like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Well, here we are.
What else you guys?
And we've got a rum and coke, so it should make conversation a little easier.
Okay.
But we've got questions that we're going to ask each other. And the main reason that we're doing this is because we know that our time on this earth is getting short. We want to have something to remember all of the things that we've done in the past. So we've done interviews with Dad before, and now this interview is between the two of us. It's really not an interview. It's just a time of recollection. So go ahead, give me your first shot.
Okay, so this is unrehearsed.
He doesn't know these are coming. So I want you to think of all of the places you've ever, in your whole life, slept in a sleeping bag.
Oh, my God. That would be all of the 25 or 30 places we've been.
Name them.
All right, well... Telluride.
Further back.
No.
Further back. I wanted to.
Estes Park. Well,
in the
backyard. In the backyard.
Okay.
We had a small canvas tent back there, and it was the kind that if it was raining outside, if you touched the side of it, it would allow water to leak.
How old were we roughly?
Oh, geez. I'll bet you somewhere 8 to 10 years old, something like that.
Okay.
This is a pretty big deal.
Okay.
Now, in the backyard of our house, you didn't know if you wanted to go out there or not because there were snakes back there.
Okay.
And I know that when Mom was out there hanging up the clothes, she'd always have boots on because she was so afraid. No, they were as garter snakes. That's it.
Right.
So after that, let me see. I think we tried one time out at 164 West Main Street. What do you remember?
Well, I remember we would go on the first day of fishing. We would get up at maybe 4 a.m. and go maybe 2 miles down the road and then hike across the creek. In fact, I didn't have waders on, but you did, and I would be on your back and you'd go across that swift stream, and I thought, we're definitely going to drown.
I've been carrying you ever since.
and sometimes we'd sleep out instead of, in the morning, we'd sleep out right next to the...
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Where would we
did.
sleep out?
Well, by the sucker hole, for one.
Oh, okay. All right.
And you all know where the sucker hole is.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so anyhow, you could round off. We don't have to name every place, but...
Okay, well, give me one more, and I'll try to piggyback on it.
Okay, well, up over the cabin we had up over our garage.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Dad built a place for us up there, and it was nice. I mean, it was safe, secure, and every once in a while we'd go out of there. Dad caught us one night. But he did catch Jack and I, or somebody.
No, it was you, Boyd Grady, and I.
Oh, okay.
And Boyd Grady stole some cough medicine because it had alcohol in it.
Yeah. Well, we left there that night, and Dad caught us. I don't know why he got up at that time, but
It was 1963. So how old would have you have been?
63, 12.
12, so I was 9.
Yeah.
And we went down. The reason I know it was 63 is because we had the Sesquicentennial, and we went down to let the guys out of the jail.
Yeah.
And they weren't there. We thought they'd be there. And Dad started interrogating me alone. He took me to a room, and I started folding. Oh, Dale.
Now, what do you remember about Dad at that time? I'll bet you don't remember that.
Cerebral palsy?
No. He had a beard.
Well, everyone in town.
Yeah, I know. It's the only time we ever saw Dad with a beard.
Everyone in town had a beard. Yeah. Okay.
So what else do you remember about that?
Oh, man.
Well, it lasted for like a week. Sesquicentennial is 150 years, I think.
Yes, 150 years.
Okay. Well, they gave out wooden nickels to everybody.
That's right.
Had the emblem and everything on it. So that was, 9 years old.
Yeah.
9 years old, probably. Did we have a pet at 9? Was that about? Can you name any of the pets?
Probably missed it. We probably had Pepper. No, that might have been a little later. I'm not sure.
No. The first one. What was the first one? The poodle.
Pepe.
Pepe Pierre.
Yeah, Pepe Pierre.
Because he was a French poodle, whatever that means. But then we had Peppy. Real inventive in our names, right? Did you have any pets other than that, like hamsters or snakes or?
Don't think so. Mom wasn't into that.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. Yeah. So let's see, what else do we have here?
Tell me what you remember about roller skating. at the Warren Roller Arena.
Well, the only time that I think that I was there was on Youngsville night,
And how did you get there?
and I don't think we took a bus.
Yes,
Yeah,
we did, a school bus.
Okay, we took a bus. And I remember that they had a whole bunch of different skates where they had, the two-step couple and, the all-skate and what other ones?
Kentucky Steel.
Kentucky Steel.
And being a young kid, I was kind of a novelty to these older women who were like 16. And they would always, I guess I was cute, they thought.
Yeah.
And so the Kentucky Steel is one where you start off with one person and then everyone rotates one notch all the way around.
Yeah.
And so I always look forward to, in fact, that reminds me, speaking of girls, do you remember the first time you realized that girls had a little something going on that
Maybe you didn't.
Well, I'd say that it was probably Barbara Blesky.
How old were you?
I'd say I was 8 to 10 years old, something like that. I can remember writing, every time you put that drink down there, it's shaking the camera. I just want you to know.
Okay,
so
well,
hang on to your doggone drink.
Okay, there's might be a little earthquake going on
Okay,
here
yeah,
now.
right.
Okay.
You got me all shook up. Yeah, I'd say it was her, and even though I didn't know much about it, I mean, we'd play the traditional games of doctor and stuff like that, and then Terry Johnson was right down the street. I had a crush on her, and Terry Johnson's sister, of course, was Luann Johnson,
The famous writer of the book, whatever it was.
She was a Marine afterwards, but because Michelle Pfeiffer's the one that took portrayed her in the movie. Yeah, right.
And we just can't remember what the movie name is.
Who was across from Terry Johnson?
That would be John Thompson.
Okay, and right next to him, I bet you don't know this.
Borton's?
Well, on the other side.
Well, I got that one right.
Yeah, you got that
one. Don't know.
Jerry Simmons.
I have no idea. I have no idea who Jerry Simmons is.
Yeah.
I would have never gotten that.
Well, there's another story that goes with Jerry Simmons. But
Okay.
Who was the troublemaker in the neighborhood?
You.
No.
Well,
this guy and I, we did get in trouble. You probably don't remember this. We started a fire.
Let me think.
Let me think. Coons?
No.
No. Let me think. Not McNatt. Blakesley?
No.
No.
Nope. Sounds like that dog thing.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know.
Ray Caldwell.
Oh, Ray Caldwell.
We went behind Wigger's garage one day, and we started a fire. And all of the wrecked cars, they had junk cars back there. We started a fire in the junk. All the smoke was coming out. It was going from one car to another car. And we got so scared that we started running. We ran straight back from Ford Garage, past McNett's, past Robleski's. We just kept running until we got up to the where is it that they process stuff? The sewer place.
Disposal
Up by Walton's. Up by
disposal
Walton's.
plant.
Yeah, the disposal plant. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, we did that. And as I was telling you earlier, there were people that if we were separate in our lives, we were good. But if I got together with somebody like Ray Caldwell and another one I was telling you about, Bruce Kay.
Right.
Yeah, separately we were okay, but once we got together, that's what you call synergy. Trouble synergy, where
one plus
one
one
on one
equals
plus
4.
made 5 or 6. Yeah. And so we did all kinds of stuff. We were drinking booze out of the cabinets that the Kays had, and we would take a bunch of them, put them in a peanut butter jar, and combine them all together because we didn't want to take too much from any one bottle. So we combined them all together. And then once we did that and we left and we tried it later, we'd take a drink out of that and we'd all say, "Oh, this is so good." And we lied. We lied because it was terrible. And you had the vapors of the alcohol coming out of your nose and stuff like that. And that's where I had a few cigarettes. I tried cigarettes when I was young. I bet you don't remember the name of the first cigarette I had.
Winston's?
No.
Campbell's?
No.
Kent's?
No.
I don't know.
I'll cut it short. Parliament is the name of the cigarette. And the rest of the story that goes with that is
this is really
when I would go back and buy that, where I would buy them is down at Kenny Lynn's gas station, I'd go in there and say, I'm getting a pack of cigarettes for Dad.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he says, your dad doesn't smoke. So that's the problem with
I do.
That's the problem of growing up in a small town.
Did you ever inhale though?
And I doubt it.
Yeah,
Doubt
right.
it. Yeah.
So you said something about mixing everything together. I don't think I've ever told you this. The first time I ever got drunk was on the way home from school. On the side of a building was a paper bag, and it had a half bottle, a gallon of white port wine. And, you know, it was already open and someone had drank half of it. It was in a bag. But we took it home, and then next time we slept out, his parents worked nights, you know, and we slept out. And when you ever watch cartoons, we filled them up in Dixie cups. And whenever you watch a cartoon, they take a Dixie cup and they start drinking, and all, you know, you see the things flying away instantly, right? So each of us took one full thing of Dixie cup, which isn't that much, maybe a shot. And do you feel anything? I don't feel anything.
No.
Try another one. How many does it take? I don't know, but I don't feel anything. Do you? Nope. I drank 17.
That's
And
wine.
wine.
Yeah.
17 Dixie cups of wine.
How old were you?
Probably 14. And then we started, you know, along the way of those 14, we were doing mixed drinks. We don't know anything. We were putting olives in wine, mind you.
Olives?
Well, we knew that, you know, martinis have.
Oh, okay.
And so we're trying to pretend we're real drinkers, right? And I was so drunk that they had a board that separated the kitchen from the rest of the house because they had puppies. And it's maybe 2 feet off the ground. I flipped over that and landed on my back and laughing and everything. And then I took a hammer, and they had a big thing of turpentine in their kitchen on the counter. I smashed it. I don't even remember that. And I was so sick. Well, should I get graphic? I'll get graphic. I got sick while I was sleeping, and I didn't get up, if you follow my drift.
Yeah.
And then Tim had the paper out, and he wakes me up at 4 o'clock. You ready to go on the paper route? I go, no, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, so that was the first time.
I remember once where I had a bottle of beer, and none of us have an opener, so I pulled it down on the side of a piece of metal. I don't know, it's like a, I don't know, what do you call them? It's like a guardrail, something so that you wouldn't hit whatever was beside it. So it was a piece of metal that was sticking up, and I took the bottle and I pulled down on the cap, and the cap broke off, and it spun around and stuck me right between the
Wow.
eyes. Still got the
Close.
scar there now,
Close.
and it stuck me right between the eyes. Now, you talk about God being with you. I
Right.
could have been blinded for life, but it stuck me right there. And the guys looked at me, and I said, it's no big deal. And I took it, and I pulled it off there, and I just threw it away. I thought, it's no big deal. But it was a big deal.
Do you remember? Do you remember you took a suction cup and put it to your forehead and left it there for like a half an hour? It all swelled up. Do you remember that?
No. But it sounds like something I do.
Yeah, I
Anyways.
definitely remember.
Hey,
that.
let me move to another thing. We were talking about town, and I was thinking about where you were and where the jail was during the sesquicentennial.
It was up by Mattel's barber shop.
Yeah, right. So, right
We all
across...
know Mattel's barber
Yeah,
shop.
right. Right across the street was what? Do you remember? Right across the street, directly.
Well, there was the movie theater.
Yeah, okay. So now what do you remember
Blatz
about...
or whatever.
Yeah, Blatz. What do you remember about the movie theater?
Well, I remember going.
First of all, I know there's two parts of this, and I think I'm not getting to the part you're getting at yet. You would go in for 15 cents, and that only lasted maybe a couple years of my memory because they shut it down. But I think where you were going with this is there was a way through a bunch of boards and stuff, you could climb down underneath.
Yeah.
And there was this tunnel underneath.
Yep.
And so we found a door that was like a metal door that you couldn't get in, but there was a door there, and we're wondering what the heck.
It was that, but it was there were probably 100 spiders down there, but we didn't care. We're dumb kids, and so
I found out later what that was. You know what that really was?
It was something for coal.
Yeah, coal chute.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd come with a
Why?
truck. They
But I wonder what they were doing with the coal.
well, they probably heated the theater with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And right behind the theater, who do you remember lived there?
Innards?
innards.
What do you remember about Dick Inner? I'm telling you, that was his name.
Did
Richard Inner, but it was it was Dick Inner. Boy, what do you come up
I don't
with?
remember
that.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
our town
I
doctor,
can't make that
our,
stuff up that
our
fast.
town doctor was named Dick Peters.
Yeah, yeah. Oh. So, what do you remember about Dick
man,
Inner?
this will never
I'm
make it
telling
on.
you, I'm
This will
telling
never make it on YouTube. We'll be banned
you.
for
You want
life.
to bet?
Yeah. Did you have any?
I'm asking you a
What,
question.
what,
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 do you
what?
remember about Dick?
I didn't know who it was.
He's the one that when the taxes were due on the reservoir up on the hill.
Oh.
Yeah, it was him.
Oh, he blackmailed the town,
He-
because he found out he owned the land.
Yeah, because he paid the
town's
taxes
reservoir.
on where the reservoir,
Whereas-
and so he was going to raise the price of water for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes, I do remember that. And I recently asked someone, is he still around? Yeah, he's still living. Do people treat him all right? And he goes, yeah, they still kind of do. Blackmailed the town. They had to pay him every year.
Dick Inner. Can't believe I said that, but
Did-
that was his name.
Well, speaking of heroes,
Yeah.
Did you have any heroes growing up? I mean local heroes.
Probably Ron Blackmere in a sense.
Ron Blackmore was...
Yeah, in terms of the local people, as I was growing up, there was a couple people I liked. David Carradine because he was kung fu. I liked.
Ilya Kuryakin.
Well, that was what was it? Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
Ilya Kuryakin, and also Bat Masterson. I don't know
Right.
what his name was, but I really idolized Bat Masterson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was pretty cool. So
And you kind of like David Cassidy too, right?
not much, not much.
That was a joke.
No.
All right. So, yeah, mine were...
Definitely Ronnie Blackmare. And man, I looked up to him.
Ronnie Blackmare was a race car driver that would win every race. They could put him as far back.
No, they put him in the back on purpose. Because he won
he
every
would
race.
he would catch everybody within 3 or 4 laps. So he was dominant. So
Yeah.
I guess that's why I really liked him.
Right.
All right, let's move on. I want to move on down the street, across the bridge. What was across the bridge?
Pool hall.
Okay, what was the name of the river that went under?
Broken Straw
Broken
Creek.
Straw. Okay, so what do you
Creek,
remember?
Creek, whatever.
What do you remember about the pool hall?
Pool Hall, the official name was the Sports Club or Sports Restaurant. Camina Sports Restaurant,
remember.
something like that. Sports Shop. Sports Shop.
Sports shop. Yeah.
And on the side of the building it said Family Billiards.
Yeah.
And Dad would go by that and he said, "Can you imagine us taking the family to Family Billiards
Yeah.
there?" Because what it was a hangout. Really, we weren't allowed in there.
Yeah.
We they had probably 8 pool tables, nice tables,
about right.
and probably 3 pinball machines. And they sold some sports stuff upon which we'd buy their starter guns for the track, blank guns.
Yeah, the blank guns. Yeah.
And yeah,
How about up on the shelf? What do you remember up on the shelf? What was up there that you'd want to buy?
I don't know. The
Do you
Black
remember the Penrose sausages that they had in the
oh,
drawer?
the Polish pickled peppers.
Yeah. Well, they had a bunch of stuff up there, and you're right. They had fishing stuff over in the corner. But once you went in, you had the 8 pool tables. But what else did they have that everybody wanted to? It was something they wanted to do, and there was only one of them. Pinball machine.
No, I said they had 3 pinball machines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And this place was incredibly smoky. When you went in, you couldn't hardly see the other side of the building, and here everybody was smoking back in then. And of course, the actors and actresses made it, fashionable to do that. But this place was crazy smoking.
Well, it was a hangout for kind of the misfits of town, and they would hang out they'd have a railing on the front, and they'd hang out and sit on that railing all day long.
And you were
Smoking
somebody if you had a spot on that rail. Everybody would buy and they'd
there's
see
a
it.
hierarchy there.
Yeah.
And we weren't allowed in there. And I can't tell you, for a place we weren't allowed in, I was probably in there 500 times.
And our parents knew it. We'd come home and our clothes would reek with smoke, so they had to know that we were in there.
Right.
But anyways, who was the best pool shot there? Do you remember?
You were pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm not close to this guy.
Ed Collins.
Ed Collins, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very good. Okay, let's move on down the street. What's the next thing beside the pool hall?
IOF building.
Okay,
I
and
know what you're going to go with that one.
no, not yet. But didn't they convert that to the bottom, or is that next door where they had the state store? Was it right there?
I think they converted part of that, a little
Okay.
part of that to the state store.
So the state store, and what was above? You said what? Didn't you say the IOF?
IOF, and I don't
Do
even
you know
know
what
what
it
this
stands for?
something Oddfellows.
Yeah, International Order of the Oddfellows.
Is that the
What
same
a
as-
thing to belong to,
Is
huh?
that the same as the Masons?
No.
Okay.
Masons had meetings up there, but
Right. Now,
it
do
was
you
their
Remember? Do you remember seeing something? Dad would take us
I
up
sure
there,
do.
and I don't know that.
I don't know if Dad.
Meant to show us? or-
No, I don't. Was it Dad that showed us?
Yes,
Okay. So
So
anyway,
my age was probably
7 or 8, which would make you 11 or 12.
anyways, when we went in there, Dad, I don't know if it raised up, but he took something off the top and opened it up, and it was like a casket.
A skeleton.
Was there bullets? Yeah, a skeleton in there. Yeah. That's kind of freaky. So no wonder they called them Oddfellows. But yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
being
but that's
there.
yeah.
Okay. Let's go back down the stairs, past the state store. What do you remember down that way?
Well, there was the bank
Yeah, before the bank.
before the. Was it? Oh no! It was Betty Lee store or something like that. No, that was up on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Oh, yes, you do. Every Saturday morning, we'd stop there on the way back.
Moline's drugstore.
Yep.
Well, it was there.
Not that far, but you could get a star on the back of the check.
Oh!
Yeah.
Don't tell me Lonnie's dinner bell
Lonnie's
lunch.
Dinner bell, yeah.
Right.
And if you happen to get a check that had a star on the back, your whole meal was free. But we only stopped for something like a drink or French fries. Always French fries, but yeah,
No, but
But I thought you said we got popcorn there.
not there, not at Lonnie's.
okay, because we'd get popcorn when we
Church was on. We were acolytes for the
Hey,
church.
just for a second, I want to go back up over the top of the bridge,
Okay.
down beside Young's Furniture.
I know you
Store.
were all with us up until this point, but now we're on the other side of the
Yeah,
bridge
it
again.
doesn't
So just
matter,
you got to
because
hang
this
on
is
to this.
Between you and I.
Yeah, I know. You got to hang on to this story. Go ahead.
Up back by Young's Furniture Store was right on the corner of what we call the 3 points there. One way went to Warren, one way
Right.
went to Pittsfield, one way went to Sugar Grove. But what was right beside there? The big store that was on the corner there.
Across the
I think I already said it. Right across from Ken Lynn's.
Young's furniture
Yeah,
store.
Young's Furniture Store. What was next to Young's Furniture Store?
Well, Linvay's Diner.
All right, Linvay's Diner. What was the diner?
A diner.
It was like a trailer.
Whoa, oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like
well,
a
that's
trailer.
what diners.
And what was so unique about their advertisement when you looked it up? There was something that was unique about that advertisement that made us laugh.
He's 3 years older than me, so he probably.
You'll
remembers
remember
better than
when
me.
I
Go
tell
ahead.
ya.
I don't know.
In the advertisement, it said, "Call for reservations," and all they had is stools in there. So it's like you'd call and say, "I want stool number 4." That's all.
It was a joke. I'm sure.
True. Well,
Yeah, but it
I mean,
worked.
the
It worked.
people that owned it weren't, the sharpest.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so let's come back. I'm going to work my way back, but right next to the diner. Then, what do you think?
Dan's Tavern. Millie's Inn.
No, you're on the wrong side.
I'm on the wrong side.
Wrong side of the street.
Well, Young's and then Lynn. Oh no. Okay, you're right. Millie's was on that side.
Yeah. Okay.
Betty Lee's.
There you go.
And then Angstrom's
Angstrom's.
men's store.
And what was that? Men's store.
And
Okay.
we bought,
We had to get our gym clothes
Yeah.
there because they had to be official
Yeah.
gym clothes.
and the right color.
Little
and what
monopoly
else?
there they had.
You had to get jock strap, which I always question. It was just a piece of cloth. I don't know what that was going to protect.
Yeah.
But you had to get that.
I still have my jock strap from back then.
Okay, so then you had Millie's Inn, and I guess then the show. But okay, let's go across the bridge
we're
again.
going back across. Okay, you hanging in there with us? We're going back.
They don't have to. It's between you and I.
know.
So Lonnie's Dinner Bell, and then after that we had the bank. Was next to the bank.
ABC store.
No.
Incorrect.
Well, I thought that was Moline's drugstore, but okay, Moline's drugstore.
Moline's
And do
drugstore.
you remember what they would give you on your birthday?
The only thing that I got there, which I've never had since, was a cherry phosphate.
That's what they'd give you.
That's what I
yeah,
get,
yeah,
cherry
yeah.
phosphate.
And there's one more thing that I got there for initiation to the club. I got a fire extinguisher from here. You said we had. Remember that camp we had up on the hill,
Yeah.
Rogers'
Yeah,
place?
yeah,
We
yeah.
didn't know that,
Yeah.
and we have to tell that story too.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to be in, and you said you're too little. And so here I am, like 10 years old. I go into Moline's drugstore, and I took that fire extinguisher because she says, well, we do need a fire extinguisher. I don't know why.
You got one.
And here I am running down the street, down the alley with this thing that's about as big as me.
Yeah.
And you
So
go,
you were
Dan,
too little.
Dan nailed it, yeah.
Um,
No, let's go up the hill about that story.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we found this cabin. Well, we really were squatters technically,
Yeah.
because we went in and it was up on the hill way back.
Yeah.
No one even knew
I don't
this thing
think
was.
we ever knew who owned
There was
that.
no driveway to
Yeah,
it. Just
yeah.
weeds and stuff.
And half the windows were out.
It was probably a hunter's camp, is what it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was no lock
On the door or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
So we kind of claimed that as our own.
Yeah.
And so, in claiming it as our own, we put Playboy pictures all over the place. I mean, probably 50 of them around.
Yeah.
And we talked to mom and dad every now and then. We're going up to their cabin we found and so forth. And they kind of said, okay. One day we're back playing football, and they said, football game over? Yeah. Well, we want to go see your cabin. See our cabin?
And what did I say? I said, well, let us go up and straighten it up before
Yeah,
you
no,
come
no,
up
no,
and
no,
see
no,
it.
no, no.
No,
We
I
wanna-
want to
we
see
wanna
it
go
just the way it
the
is.
way it is.
Yeah.
And so, unbeknownst to you or me, Brother Barry,
Yeah.
on his motorcycle,
Yeah.
Honda 90, went up there all the way up, and it was up a dirt road. And I remember commenting, it looks like a motorbike went up here, and I didn't know it was Barry.
Yeah.
He went up, and I didn't even think he knew we had those pictures in there. He went up and cleared out all
Everything.
the Playboys. And so here, I then said, I'm going to run ahead just to make sure it's just right.
Did Dad stop you?
He did.
Yeah.
And so I looked in there first, and you were like 20 feet behind me, and they were like 40 feet behind. And I looked back and I said, they're all gone. Wow.
You know, when I first heard you say that, at first I was mad that somebody took them, and then I was relieved that they did take them.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, ski resort, right? That was above the ski resort. So, what do you remember about? What was the name of it?
Well, there were a number of names. There was Youngsville Ski Resort, or Ski Hill, or whatever. Skiways. Youngsville Skiways. And then it was Peak Mountain, because the sister of that was Peak, which was very popular. So
Climber,
they
right?
Climber, New York. And so they kind of repurposed it, and Peak Mountain, I think they had visions of having a franchise
Yeah.
business. And then it was Buckaloons. And I think that's all I can
Well, I'll
remember.
tell you that is really the biggest Youngsville ever was, because they had the ski resort.
No, you were
Absolutely right. I looked up the history of the height of our town's population, and it was 2,200 at that point,
Yeah.
because we had the four lane,
Yeah,
the four lane, and then and Ernie McGraw mastered that. We had the fire hall just open up, and we had the ski place. Now, if you went to the ski resort here in our own town, where everyone knows everyone, you'd feel like you're on vacation, because people would come from all over to go to that place, and you hardly knew anybody, because no one in town could really afford it.
Yeah.
And so that lasted for quite a while.
Well, the main lodge is still there, and we
It's
had
a
our
wine. What's a winery now?
yeah, it's a winery now. It's probably the same way that I make my wines out of the carboys. I'd make that, and I'll bet you they're doing the same thing. But that ski lodge was where everybody went for the big dances. I mean, it was really nice. And people would come down from Warren and so forth. And, of course, the Youngsville girls liked the Warren guys because they didn't belong to Youngsville. But,
Right.
yeah, that was the heyday of the town. And the mayor that took over years after said, this is the place to be. Like,
Yeah,
this
this is
was
the
going to be
place to
the
be.
Taj Mahal of
And
the
they
world
couldn't
area.
they couldn't keep it open because of climate change. You're
Yeah.
right.
because they tried to make they bought snowmaking equipment
And
Yeah.
there just wasn't enough
Yep,
to
yep,
keep
yep.
it.
to keep it going. Well, that concludes our part one.
We're going to start our part 2 in a second.
Yeah.
So we're
I'm looking at the clock. We're exactly 30 minutes. So how
Okay.
convenient is that?
Let's go.
So pay
pay attention. Part 2 is coming up.
See you.